Yes, in this video I'm going to be talking a little bit about parameters and query parameters. Params and query parameters. When you have a URL, you can specify some, if you want to send some data with a URL, you can do that with the query parameters. I think you've seen this before. Like, for example, if you have a YouTube video, you can, for example, say what time the video should start. So you see this is done with a query parameter. Here is the URL for the video, and then it says like question mark t equals 80. This t equals to 80, that's some data that is sent in the request through query parameters that specifies the time when the video should start. Another thing that they send with the query parameters is, for example, I guess this must be like the ID of the video, where it says like question mark v equals blah 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 blah. So we could probably do I want to see this video and it should start at 80. So when we have a query parameter, we write question mark, then we write some key equal to some value, and if we want one more query parameter, then we write an and, or ampersand I guess it's called, and then it's like key and value. So if we try and do this, typical. So now we see that it started at 80 seconds. Okay, I cannot move this window. Yeah, so it started at 80 seconds, which means like this is working. So there's, in YouTube's video, there's some like algorithm that takes in these parts and analyzes it. So that's what we are going to be doing now. Yes. So let's get to the code. Let's say we want the employers that have specific tech skills. So what we want to do is that we want to, for example, say /employers and then like the question mark skills equal tech. So if we set this up, now how do we get this key value part? How would you go about finding that out? What would you do now? Try and write down a strategy for figuring out how to get the query parameters in Express. So we can Google it. We can Google something like Nodejs query parameters. I don't think I spelled that 100% correctly, but I guess that's okay. And this does not look like it's for Express, so we want to add that in as well. Get query string parameters in Nodejs. So we see that this is exactly what we're looking for, like page 2 or limit. That's also typical ones. Then we see here that there's something called req.query. So it looks like the key called query. So we don't call it req, we call it request. So let's try and log out the request.query. Was that on the employers? Yes, on the employers. So if you look down here, we can see that we've got an object where it has a key called skills and then tech. Okay. So now we kind of have it in JavaScript, so we could write some code that could help us there. So we could write like dot skills equal tech. Then we want to respond with only it's like it's Sana and it's Tika. Those are the employers that we have that have tech skills. Okay, so if we do this, we'll see that we get Sana and Katika. But if it's like media, then we don't respond with anything. Then we can just respond with employers again. Or responding with no employers found. Yes. Okay. So we can get the query parameters that way. There is another way we can send information in a request, and it's through the path. So we could, for example, do it like this and say, like, I want the employer that is called Kehinde. So, not say that. Okay. I want the employer called Kehinde. And now we are using params. And so how do we get those? This is a completely, it's a new path, right? It's about employers and then slash Kehinde slash any name. That means we need to define a new GET request. So we could do slash get employers, and then we do like this, write a colon and then a name, and then we should have the params here. So let's try and do that. Let's try and load this. No employers now found, and now we see down here that there is an object with a key called name and a value called Kehinde. So again, we could be if request dot params dot name equals Kehinde, then we respond with that specific. There we go. With that specific employer. Okay. Yes. So that's. Cannot set headers after sent. Oh, I think it's because maybe we respond twice. Yeah. Yes. Yes, so that's how you kind of work with query parameters and parameters. And now what you choose to implement with that is kind of up to you. Yes, that was it. Thanks.